So, when was the last time we actually talked about the Department of Transportation? You're right. We haven't. In all this time that we've been doing the show, I have never approached that topic. So, in my infinite wisdom, I found the expert. I got the guy. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce you, Mike Cicak from Sheakley, and he's going to be the guy. I tell you that I bring Carl Ulrich on for unions. I bring Scott Work in for DEI and harassment. Mike is our guy for DOT. And this is a topic that affects so many more companies than they don't even realize it.
That's well said, Pandy. If you're a small business owner and you have trucks, even if you're not a trucking company, you better be aware of what's out there and what FMCSA, no acronyms, right? Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration,
yes,
and the Department of Transportation expect of you, and at least be prepared to understand that and hopefully comply.
And let's start from the beginning, because you've 22 years doing this with one of the largest companies in the country, well respected.
Thank you.
Let's start with what a truck is.
Yeah. Truck, FMCSA will call it a power unit. Most of the employers we help at Sheakley are business owners that are not trucking companies. They're in construction, they're in manufacturing, service, retail. When they have trucks, commercial vehicles, units, power units that are over 10,001 pounds, are two really big numbers to remember today. 10,001 pounds.
Okay.
Doing commercial business vehicles.
Okay.
You have to comply with the Department of Transportation. And then if you have larger vehicles that are over 26,001 pounds, that's the second number.
I know that number.
Yep. That's where a CDL license is required, and there's just more rules and regulations around that. But we've seen countless times, construction companies in particular, they're thinking, I'm not a trucking company. I don't have to do this. I don't have to abide by these rules. They don't discriminate your industry. So if you have those trucks, those are the employers that need to be mindful of what's out there.
Well, and another thing I want you to clarify real quick for us so that our audience knows whether this really applies to them or not. But I have some people who push back and go, but we don't drive on the interstate. We drive intrastate.
Correct. And that is a nuance. So if they're not going to cross state lines, they don't have to worry about this as much.
Okay.
So when an employer has that 10,001 weight and up, and they're crossing state lines, especially here in Cincinnati, Toledo, they're going to Indiana, they're going to Kentucky, they're going to Michigan.
Right.
They don't care how often. If you're interstate, that's where you're expected to have driver qualification files. That's been the big thing lately is, an HR file as well as anybody. You could do it blindfolded. We should actually do that one day on the show if you want to put one together blindfolded. But with a DOT file, you have to have that driver qualification file for folks if they are crossing state lines. If you're 10,001 pounds and you're never going to leave the state of Ohio, you do not have to have a driver qualification file. That's a good difference there.
Okay. So I have a padded truck, and I'm doing deliveries to my different locations. Maybe I'm doing garbage removal or
right. You got it.
Salvage.
A lot of refuse. Yep. Landscapers.
I don't have any employees. I'm just a single individual. I still have to abide.
You do if you're going to cross state lines. Yeah.
Interesting. So let's go over, take us beyond the files. There's more to it than just that.
Yep. A lot of it's what is in the file.
Okay.
So there's about 14 items that have to be in that driver qualification file, from their application to their driver's license. That's pretty obvious. An updated driver's license, a medical card. So that's the big one we see a lot of folks miss.
A medical card, just like the CDLs.
Yeah, right. You've got that for folks that are driving commercial trucks over 10,000 but less than 26,000, where you have to have that medical card.
Okay.
And it has to be up to date, and the employer has to verify that that's a legitimate physician. So there's a national registry number that you have to vet to make sure that this is a legit medical card. Just like during COVID, we saw plenty of fake COVID vaccine cards.
Certainly. Yeah.
Having a road test or ride along, you have to have that when you're over 10,001 pounds. But if you're over 26,000 pounds, you don't have to have a road test, which sounds a little strange. You think it'd be the opposite of that. And then you have a little nuance too when it's the CDL drivers. Time flies, but it was 5.5 years ago when FMCSA started this clearinghouse mandate. So that was supposed to be a really good thing, but clearinghouses for CDL drivers have to have their drug tests. Employers have to drug test their CDL drivers, 50% drug test and 10% blood alcohol test. But then you have to run queries on your CDL drivers. Every CDL driver you hire, you have to check this individual in this online clearinghouse.
Okay.
And you have to do it every year for all of your CDL drivers.
Stay on drug testing.
Yeah.
So many companies have stopped drug testing because they know fat chance everybody's going to pass.
Right.
And many trucking companies have to do randoms periodically. What about this lower end, this 10,001 pound? Are they required to have drug testing?
They are. They are not. If it's over 10,001 but less than 26,000, they don't. Now, best practice would tell you that you have to.
Wow, I can't believe they can get away with that.
Right, and then they have to have they have to pass a medical exam. So from that standpoint, they have to pass that.
But is the drug test involved in that?
No, but as far as like continuous drug testing, like it is for the CDL drivers, no, they don't have to.
So a company would actually behoove or be beneficial if they got rid of the big ones and maybe bought a few more of the smaller trucks?
You got to do whatever your business needs, right? Whatever you're going to haul is what you're going to need. But we've seen some companies, like I talked to a company today, they're going to hire more CDL drivers, but mostly just because they have to. They're going to go from 8 CDL drivers to 16, but it's just because their business is growing.
Wow. Okay, so that's internally within the administrative side of HR, that's what they need to be doing. What about documentation in the truck itself?
It's best to have something for the drivers in their glove compartment.
Yeah.
That they've read it well in advance, how to answer questions if they get pulled over by a state trooper. Don't give more than what's needed. So that's always best to have that in there. But that's typically how audits get started. So I'll never forget, I talked to a client. This is a Sheakley workers' comp client, but in so many words, and they're up in New Bremen, Ohio. We're not talking like big city, right?
Yeah.
They said in so many words, they're just not going to mess with this. And right, most people will speed until they get caught. You know that.
It's never a problem until it's a problem.
And so it was almost 9 months to the day. He called me and said, Mike, I had 2 drivers get pulled over. This is a construction company. 2 drivers get pulled over in a short window, and then that triggered a DOT audit.
Sure.
And so
sure.
Thankfully, we were able to get everything squared away to help them. But at the time, they thought, I'm construction. I don't think I really need to do this.
Oh, my gosh. And the crazy part is I for these kind of situations, I insist on the registration. I insist on the insurance company to be in that glove compartment.
Sure.
First report of injury
right.
form, documents.
So that's a great call.
A disposable camera. So if there's an accident, they can take their own pictures and it's not on their personal phone. I want to keep it property of the company.
I've never heard that.
Oh, come on.
I really haven't. I'm going to get a disposable camera on my way home. For my glove compartment.
Do you know how hard it is if you've got an employee and they're out there with their own cell phone? You have no control over it. We want these pictures, but we either have to flush them out and make them and there's no guarantee they're going to delete them.
That's a really great point.
Oh, I've had some nasty, nasty accidents on the highway.
I've not heard of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, this is my gift back to you.
Thank you. It's good teamwork.
Talk about what Sheakley does.
So I'm thankful to be with Sheakley 22 and a half years.
That's amazing.
Thank you. We're family owned, 62 years this year, and specializing in workers' comp and risk management. So it started as workers' comp and unemployment claims management 62 years ago, and then branched off into safety and risk. And so, yeah, it's been a great run.
But if someone has a question about, what should we be doing, who's the person in the company that should be overseeing all this? It's sometimes not the HR person.
It's a wonderful question, Pandy. We talked to a company today in Norwalk, Ohio. The CFO's been there since January. Very fast-growing company.
Okay.
And she said, we have about 4 people that are handling this.
Yeah.
From their HR person to her, to the owner,
Yep.
to the operations manager. And that's what she said. She said, we're probably doing some of this, but not all of it. And that's what we see countless times is it's spread out amongst multiple people versus one person saying, who owns this? And Larry Sheakley says, hey, one person should own this,
Yeah.
whatever it is, so that you know this is on you.
Ownership is so important. And just the responsive time. I'll take responsibility, so I'll get it done, and you can hold them accountable for it. Is there special training that Sheakley offers to equip these individuals with that knowledge?
Sure. We do webinars throughout the year. We just did one. Rachel Kendrick, it's a colleague. She runs our DOT department.
Oh, okay.
And so she just did a webinar, I think it was June 24th, which got great feedback. So we're always doing ongoing webinars. 60/60 is reasonable suspicion training. There's all kinds of reasonable suspicion
Oh my
training.
gosh, I love that.
For the state's drug program, but that FMCSA clearinghouse mandate, you have to do a separate 2-hour, 60 minutes drug training, 60-minute alcohol training, supervisor, reasonable suspicion training for that FMCSA clearinghouse. So we'll do those online as well.
Oh my gosh. So, and you go out on site, because I know I called you on one of my clients down in Kentucky.
Yeah, thank you.
And partnered with them.
Mhm.
And his knowledge, oh my gosh, he just blossomed once he realized just how intricate and deep this goes.
Yes. We always like to say we're the good guys. We're not, an agency that's trying to bust you. But if it makes sense for us to do one of those mock DOT audits, we'll rank the company from 1 to 100. The best I've seen is 93. The worst I've seen is a 7. And so, but they
needed you.
Right. And so it just depends on what the company needs, whether that's the driver files or the clearinghouse or, vehicle maintenance. We kind of stay out of that world, but there's, that's another part of it. It's like, you better be doing inspections daily and have that ingrained in your folks.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have templates of forms so that people don't have to start from scratch?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. So, and those forms are changing. Like someone asked me the other day, they said, when my driver signs this consent form, doesn't that expire? And I said, technically it does, but you can phrase that consent form to say this is good for your length of employment. So why do paper chasing and chase a form down for someone to give you consent to check them out in this clearinghouse when you can just say it's good for the full length of employment?
That's
little bank shots, right?
Those little, it's the knowledge of experience to make them more efficient and help them feel like they're more in control.
You got it.
Oh, Mike, why haven't we had this conversation before?
We're both busy. You're rocking and rolling. I'd like to think we are too, and having fun and working hard, but I'm really thankful we could do this.
We're going to do it again. How soon do you have anything pending right now that you're watching within the DOT?
Boy, I'm trying to think of what's coming.
Has the new administration affected you at all in the DOT?
No, not us per se and helping clients, but trying to think of what's coming. I can't think of anything really big. I know it's probably not a good answer, but.
No, it's truthful. All right, so let's do this. If they were to partner with Sheakley and you were to come in and start helping them build a stronger foundation of knowledge of this, would you be giving them updates every so often and letting them know when things change and sending them the new materials or the new posters or whatever it is?
And we have a newsletter that can go out to anyone, whether you're a client or not. If you want to be on our newsletter, just let us know. And so we send out a newsletter for nothing that's like pushy or salesy, but just, hey, here's what you need to know that's going on with DOT. So I think we send that out every quarter.
Oh, definitely share with the audience how to do that.
Yeah. So you can reach me at, you feel free to call me at 513-618-1503, or you can email me at mike.cicak, CICAK, at Sheakley.com.
And ladies and gentlemen, again, you can find him on LinkedIn. You can get a hold of me and I will partner you with Mike. But this is important. If you've got delivery trucks, if you've got any kind of vehicles that you're not even thinking in this realm, please do not set yourself up for disaster. Call him. Wouldn't it be better to have one of, either Mike or one of his representatives come in and say, oh, you're in great shape. I don't even know that you need us. Or say, wow, give me a couple of weeks and we can bring you up to compliance.
Yeah, thank you. The same company in Norwalk today, she said, we just paid $1,000 fine because we didn't do our unified carrier registration on time.
Before we wrap up, what are the fines? What do those look like?
So it depends, but driver qualification fines range from $1,500 per violation to $11,000 per violation per item in the file, and then the FMCSA clearinghouse typically start around $5,800. Their citation for not paying their unified carrier registration, which is due every year in December, was $1,000, and it's just a tax you have to pay for your trucks on the road based on the weights. So it's pretty simple to do, but they just didn't do it. And part of it was the turnover. She came in, multiple people, they didn't know who was handling it, and so they had to pay the fine.
Yeah. Call Mike. Reach out to him and let him walk you through this. And again, this is what he's here for. And that's what we're here for. If you have a concern, let us know, because this show is all about you, the viewer. And you don't have to be in HR to understand that that's big money. If you're paying those fines, you're paying big money. Thank you so much for watching today. Again, let us know what you need to know right here at the Human Resource.